All right. Hello there, ladies, gentlemen, and League of Legends patch note enjoyers. Welcome back. We are back once again. Every 2 weeks. Every motherfucking 2 weeks. We are back to go over the motherfucking patch. And it's been 2 weeks. And the patch notes are here. Anyway, I've been super sad recently. I'm super sad now. But we'll use the patch notes to hide and distract me from it. So anyway, this is the patch that is going to be the little spooky Halloween patch. So, let's read, shall we? It's time for the spookiest patch of the year. We have a few treats in patch... We have a few treats in... in patch 12.20. So let's dig in. Okay, in all honesty, this patch isn't all treats. It looks like a few nerfs snuck into our bag of goodies. Oh no. We're bringing down the power levels of a few overperforming champions like Maokai, wow, and Aatrox, wow, to make them a bit less terrifying. I'm actually surprised those two are getting nerfed. On the bright side, we do have some enchanting buffs to champions like Evelynn and Gwen. 'Tis their season after all. It is spooky season. I know how Evelynn's spooky. I don't know how Gwen is spooky. She's more sexy in my eyes. Lastly, we have a new batch of bewitching skins that'll scare your socks off. We're also introducing a big update to our language detection system. Oh no, that sounds bad. In this patch. Now, zero tolerance language will be detected and stopped live. And players using this language will automatically be system muted. Holy shit, they're actually doing it. Riot's actually enforcing the rules even harder. Holy fuck. If there's one thing that's famous about League, it's the fact that the people are toxic as all fucking hell. So, I don't know how Riot is going to fix that. I don't think any game can fix that. However, Riot has been leaning really, really hard into changing it. I'll give them that. They're leaning really hard into changing it. Ever since they started cracking down on dodging, once you have those 3 dodges, you're fucking done. Like, you get banned for a good amount of time if you dodge 3 times. So back in the day, you used to dodge if you just didn't think you were gonna win the game. Like, yeah, I'll just take the 3 LP loss. Now, you really got to choose whether you got to do that or not. They kept cracking down on reporting. We have reporting in Champ Select, which I still don't know if that even does anything. And then now you get muted instantly in game live if you say a zero tolerance word. Which I think we can all guess what those are. I'm not going to say them on stream, obviously. But I'm a little scared that, what if there's a word you don't know is zero tolerance, you say it, and then it is. It kind of always, I wish they would have a list, although it is bad to have a list because then people might learn about it. But people should know what they are. But then again, people shouldn't even say them, so should they even know? I think they should, but that's a way bigger argument. But this is overall pretty good. I'm just a little scared that, what if a word that they think is zero tolerance, but, isn't, gets added. Because I wonder if this is going to be an evolving list. But, only time will tell. But overall, this is really good. This is really fucking good. But anyway, looking to experience a scary 50 gold roll down not only to... Okay, no, that's TFT. We don't care about TFT. So, the Halloween skins coming out this patch are going to be reviewed at the end of this patch, as always. So, we're going to go over those later. So, first up on the chopping block, the guy who's getting nerfed. AA Aatrox. So, what do I think of Aatrox? I think Aatrox is kind of in the middle ground. I think ever since the massive healing nerf and the Grievous Wounds buff, he's been kind of whatever. But I know he's been creeping back into play. So, maybe he will get nerfed, and it is deserved. So, let's see. Let's see how bad it is. Aatrox's passive not only gives him tons of damage, see, I disagree here, but okay, but also tons of healing when lethality amplifies his percentage max health damage. While the Eclipse nerfs last patch did weaken him, he's still too powerful. So let's see what they're doing. The heal of his passive is going from 100 to 80. That is a 20% nerf. That is pretty fucking big. That is pretty fucking big. So, what do I think? I think this doesn't really make too much sense because Aatrox's passive does help him do a good amount of damage, but early it's a really long cooldown, so already early you're not getting too much worth out of it. And then later on in the game, yeah, you might be able to proc it a lot, but you have to work for it. You have to land your Q, which is not that hard, but it's literally an auto. It's like a Jarvan auto. That thing has a cooldown on it too, but even then, I still think that's why Jarvan's pretty weak. He just doesn't output enough damage. But anyway, Jarvan needs rework. But on to Aatrox. So, see, it's weird. I forgot the exact cooldown of his passive because I don't play this fuckhead. But I think the fact that you have to work for it, because at least early to mid, it is a decently long cooldown. I think it's fine to have it be like 100%. Or at the very least 90. I don't think they should put it to 80. I think this is going a little bit too much. But again, it is just an auto that's up every so often. So the same argument could be used against me of, you know, if it's not that strong because it's one auto that you have to work for, then nerfing it a little bit won't matter too much. So we'll see. Akshan! What do I think of Akshan? I think Akshan has pretty much landed where he's supposed to be. I think they did a really good job of filling out what they wanted. A niche ADC mid laner. I actually think they did okay. I think he's obviously not a late game giga hyper carry, which he doesn't need to be. The biggest thing with Akshan that I actually fully came around on was the res. The res is actually so fucking good and strong, you don't need him to be too strong anywhere else. And I think he's in that good spot. So I honestly don't know if he could get buffed or nerfed, but assuming that because he's decently new, they're probably going to buff him, because I don't think he's OP. I think he's on the weaker side personally. I think he is very difficult as well. I think they're going to buff him. So let's see. What are they doing? E duration increased. What the fuck does that mean? Haven't you always wanted to swing around a tower forever? Well, now you can. Whee! Wait, are you serious? Dude, this is so cool! Wait, this is so cool. I don't even know if this is a buff technically. I mean, by all technicalities it is, but it's such a minor buff. It's more like a quality of life change, because when the fuck would you want to swing around a tower forever? It's more just to have fun. Oh, this is nice. This is nice. Okay, this is good. This is not even like a buff. This is just more like a nod to the fans. It's really good. Okay, Blitzcrank. What do I think of Blitzcrank? I haven't seen too much of Blitz since the mini rework came out. However, I think it probably landed really well because I saw what he was doing in Earth, which is basically the only thing I've played since. And he was pretty ridiculous. And I think just from the numbers alone and what they were doing, he's probably pretty ridiculous. He's probably going to get nerfed. So let's see what they're doing. Last patch's changes succeeded in getting players to give jungle Blitzcrank a try. Unfortunately, it's still not as strong as we'd like. Oh. On the other hand, the changes unintentionally supercharged his strength as a support. Oh, wow! What a wild concept! It's almost like this is the exact same thing that kept happening with Seraphine. You keep buffing her and expect to go somewhere else, but her main role, which is support, is only going to get better and people aren't going to go anywhere else because he's not a hard carry. Wow! So what are they doing? They're actually nerfing his support and buffing his jungle. They actually don't want Blitz to go support, and I think this is something we can talk about. But let's see what they're doing. His base AD is going down. His base attack speed is going down. His passive is getting buffed later. His damage to monsters is also getting buffed. And then his E is getting nerfed. Blitzcrank now has a chance to uppercut monsters to the moon when overkilling them. That is actually hilarious. That reminds me of Skyrim. Holy shit, that's good. Dude, see, this is what I like. Riot's finally adding in stuff that like doesn't need to be there because it's not changing gameplay in any way. It's just funny and fucking cool. Oh my god, we need more of that shit. It's like intentional bugs left in. Again, similar to Skyrim. But anyway, what do I think of Blitz? So I think that it's good that they're moving him away from the support role, because at this point, unless they want to give his W move speed back, which is kind of broken but not really, because of everything else in the role, I think Blitzcrank just gets overshadowed, and him getting his W movement speed back and not getting slowed by it would probably be the best thing they could do to him, and would probably make him viable realistically. But they're not going to do that, and I guess they want to push him towards jungle. Why? Because he's not a good support, because there's so many better supports. Hell, I can even see Cassante going support better than fucking Blitzcrank can. But at the end of the day, you just need one good grab. So overall, I mean, he's nerfed. He's pretty much nerfed. He's a little better in the jungle and later on with his passive, but he's pretty much nerfed. But he's still doing the same shit. Pretty much. Okay. Elise, this champion is garbage. Unless they Omega buff her, she is garbage. Elise's Q range is currently slightly shorter than her auto range, which leads to an awkward half step when she Q autos enemies. Who cares? This range adjustment should make her combos feel much smoother. And even though the number went down, this should result in a slight range increase. Oh? So the cast range of Q is going down, but the edge of Elise to center of target's hitbox. Center of Elise to edge of target's hitbox. Okay, so they're basically making the range kind of the same. It just feels better. So they are shaving off the 50 range off the cast. However, they're changing the detection. So it's supposed to make it the same. Honestly, knowing Riot, this is probably a nerf. And Elise is so bad, don't go fucking Elise. Elise sucks. Okay. Evelynn! What do I think of Evelynn? Evelynn is the jungler who farms up, gets the mark off, plays perfectly, and kills you. Although, in reality, that barely ever happens. And I think to play Evelynn correctly, you need to be really good or one-tricking her. So, I think she's too hard. I think she's going to get buffed. Evelynn's been feeling invisible compared to her fellow AP assassins. The only one I could think of is Fiddlesticks. So we're giving her some more burst power in her high counterplay abilities so she can take her enemies' breath away permanently. Or at least until they respawn or Roxanne reses them. So, what are they doing? So, the bonus magic damage to marked targets is going up. Not by much, but I think this is the proc that you do 3 times afterwards. So, it might not seem like a lot, and it's not, but I guess it adds up. Overall, I guess they're trying to reward you for actually landing the full W, which they should. If you land the full W, that person should fucking die. If they don't, you're not doing your job as an assassin. So what are they doing to the W? The W, they are buffing the charm duration. That's actually pretty big. Even though it's tiny, every second of CC matters in this game, so that's actually not too bad. Will this increase Evelynn's play rate? Not really. Will it make it better for the ones who plays her? Yeah, probably. Gwendolyn! I think Gwen is bad. I'm just going to come out and say it. I think Gwen is not that good. I think they just over-smacked her across the face. I think she was really good, and in fact, it was shown because pro players abused her. And then we can't have anything nice in this world. So once the pro players abused her, they took her away from us, and they made her so hard that not only could the pros not really abuse her, no one could, because she's not even played in regular because her laning is straight garbo. I actually think Kaele's laning might be as good, if not better, than Gwen's. And that's saying something. So I think they really need to fucking buff her. She always scales like an animal. That's not up to debate. Late game Gwen will eat fucking ass. The problem is, early to mid game Gwen will make it so late game Gwen never fucking happens. So let's see what's happening. Gwen hasn't been scary in quite a while. She currently needs to get into late game to start gaining an edge over her opponents. Exactly what I said. We're sharpening her mid-game power a tad bit to help her compete with other similar fighters. I think they need to buff her early, honestly. But then you'd literally have the perfect character, so it's a weird balancing rope act. So what are they doing? They're buffing the base damage. Not bad, actually, because you got to remember, this is converted into true damage. And Q is the first thing you are maxing, so technically you will see immediate results from this. This is early to mid-game. Will it be enough? I don't know. I mean, you know, when in doubt, buff damage until they're overtuned, but this is tough. I still think Gwen is more of a skill champ. I think if you are not skilled at core mechanics in Gwen and matchups, then you just lose on this champion. This doesn't really help her. This helps the people who already played her, basically. Same as Evelynn. But not bad. A buff is a buff. Jace. I fucking hate this character. This character is such a trap. It's like Elise, except he has slightly more use, if not the same. Elise at least has a stun. Jace at least has pretty good damage. I think he has more damage than Elise for sure, and I think he counters a lot of early to mid-game matchups. However, I do not think he translates well into the late game. No, Lolo is not my favorite patch notes. But anyway, I don't think Jace is good at all. I'm not for early game champions because maybe it depends on the patch or the meta, but for this current year, I don't really feel like it's too much of an early game centered meta, so Jace is not that good. He's not bad though. He's not as bad as Elise. I would rather see a Jace than an Elise for sure. However, I still think Jace is pretty bad. They better fucking buff him here. Excuse me. As a late game Jace, it can be a little scary to swap to your hammer and jump straight into your enemy team. Yeah, because you're literally suiciding. We're giving him some small buffs to his durability in the late game and giving him more tools to play with his hammer. Wow, especially with No Nut November coming up, that's kind of sad. Anyway, the mana restoration is going up. I don't think anyone asked for this. Granted, I don't play Bobby, which is Jace. I don't play Jace, so I wouldn't know how heavy mana reliant he is because I don't even fucking see him, which should speak volumes to how good he is. However, I have no clue how this helps him late game. So what are they doing to his ult? Bonus armor and MR. It now has a scaling. That's actually pretty good. The fact that it has a scaling is good. He's not going to be an Omega tank, but he actually will get some value out of it. That's actually decent. That is a decent change. That's not bad. Bobby, okay. Not bad. Not bad change. Kennen! What do I think of Kennen? I think Kennen has been out of meta for a while. Same thing with Rumble. I always pair Kennen and Rumble together because they are the two main AP team fighting champions. And if Rumble isn't doing good and Kennen isn't doing good, it's either A, both a number problem, which I don't think it is, or B, it's just not their time. It's just not their meta. It's just not the patch. So honestly, I think it might be a damage thing. I think they should just buff his damage. But what are they doing? Either that or give him a rework. I don't understand what his kit really does. Ninjas don't have limits, and neither should Kennen. What does this mean? Shadow Shuriken Jutsu. What the fuck? After ending his E, Kennen's bonus attack speed buff will now allow him to surpass the 2.5 times attack speed limit? Holy shit. We might actually see AD Kennen. AD Kennen got a huge buff here. What the fuck? You can actually surpass the attack speed limit without lethal. If you pair lethal on top of it, you could get supercharged. Holy shit. Yo, I hope to see some AD Kennens. Holy fuck. Which is weird because he's supposed to be AP. But hey, you know, Riot's doing crazy shit. The game's probably dying, so that's why. But anyway, Maokai. They say Maokai's OP. I don't really believe it. I think he was bad for a long time. This is a bad thing Riot likes to do, and they did it tragically with ADCs as well. Riot likes to give people their time in the sun. Some people, they have a whole season. Other people, they have like 1 or 2 patches. I think Maokai is the 1 or 2 patches kind. Because they gave him his buff, which was percent max health, right? On his Q. But after that, look what's happening now. They're nerfing him. So let's see. Maokai's update has led him to taking root across several roles, which he always did. But his roots run deepest and strongest in top lane, which is good. That's where he was based from. We're trimming down his sustain in the mid to late game and upping his ultimate cooldown to hedge his strength. Interesting. So what are they doing? So it used to be 4.5 to 12% max health. Now it's 4 to 10. Ooh, 2% shaved off. That might not seem like a lot, but because Maokai is, quote unquote, supposed to build tank, it actually leads out to probably something a little significant. And now it scales and maxes out at 17? Holy shit. Wow. Okay, so his passive is pretty much big nerfed. And then the cooldown of his ulti is going down. I still don't think his ulti is too good. Obviously, it's a little better. But honestly, his old ult was like the best iteration. His new ult, aka the ult we have now, is still pretty fucking shit. But, wait, the cooldown's going up. Wait, I thought they were lowering it. Wait, this is just a straight nerf overall. Wow. Okay, Maokai sucks. I'm not spending any more time on this dumb fuck. Rammus. What do I think to Rammus? I really don't see him, but that's because he's niche against all AD teams. Even then, no one likes playing a tank, let alone in the jungle. It is not the meta, and it's not that fun. So let's see what they're doing. They're probably going to buff him. A bug fix in 12.19 to Rammus' W resulted in a sizable nerf. We're removing some of his training weight so that he'll be faster. We're keeping an eye on him to make sure he's still speedy and tanky. So what are they doing? They're removing the self-slow? No fucking way. No way. This is actually so fucking, big. What the fuck? And then the R, dash, soaring slam. So the dash speed is now 110% of your move speed. So, if you play Warwick, think of Warwick ult. It's slightly going to be longer now, which is good. Oh no, sorry, the dash speed. So I'm assuming the speed at which you land down. I'm not too sure, actually. We'll have to take a range check on that one. But the self-slow getting removed is like really fucking big. Is Lolo the strongest legend? No. The strongest legend is probably Kindred. Or Aurelion Soul. But anyway. Wow. This is basically what I was advocating for them to do to Blitzcrank before. But they're not fucking doing it. But they're doing it to Rammus, of all people. The guy who I don't really think needs it. But you know what? Fuck it. We'll take it. Rammus actually might be decent now. Holy shit. Okay, Seth, the guy who just got the Spirit Blossom skin. What are we thinking? He just got the skin, so I'm assuming based off prior knowledge, he might get buffed here, but I'm not too sure. I'm pretty sure he's going to get buffed because the skin is out and they want to sell it. So let's see. Maybe it's not doing well enough in sales, which might be weird because I think it's a really good skin, but who knows. Base MR decreased, passive health regen decreased early, right punch AD ratio increased. Seth is the boss. The boss is always on top. He isn't happy being in the middle of the pack, or the middle of the map. So basically, okay, this is a nerf, but I think it's a warranted nerf. They don't like the fact that Seth can literally go everywhere. Now, I don't agree with this thing they say at the end here. They're saying his strength is a bit weaker without affecting his top lane strength. What if you go against Gwen? This literally affects it. So they're not really completely transparent here. They're just assuming you're going to go against an AD top laner, which most of the time you will, but not all the time. However, they are buffing his damage. So how much are they buffing it by? Right punch AD is going from 50 to 55. Okay, the Riot 5% special. Cool. So he's slightly better, I guess, top lane in most matchups, slightly worse in mid overall. Honestly, I'm fine with this. I want him to go top anyway. Get him out of going every role. Okay, Wukong. I think Wukong is probably broken. Either he's broken or he's going to get nerfed anyway just because of pro play, because they've non-stop used him in pro play. Aside from that, I've barely ever seen him, if at all, in regular play, and he sucks ass when he's played. I think he should get buffed, because after his rework came out and he was massively overtuned, they nerfed and nerfed and nerfed him until he was never played, same as before, so why even have the rework? But I don't know what's going on now because he is massively played in pro play. So we'll have to see what they're doing. I could see it going either way. I think he needs a buff. Riot probably is going to give him a nerf. Right now, Wukong's damage output is actually greater if he ends his ult before it times out. Huh? What? We're putting some more strength into his ult so that the Monkey King can spin to win. Okay, let me read this. So I think what they're saying is you actually got more damage out if you ended the ult early and then just like hit them with your Q or your full other kit. Holy shit, there's no way. So what are they doing? 16%, 16%. So the percent health is staying the same of the max health. But the scaling is going from 220 to 275. Holy shit, that's a lot. Okay, that's a big up in damage for his ult, which I think his ult needs to be damaging. Granted, the clone could do it too, so you do have to be very careful because the clone is basically a 30% damage buff. But wow. The clone doesn't always hit it, by the way. But damn, this is pretty good. And you can cast this twice, remember that. And it's per cast, so per cast, overall, if you get 2 casts, you're doing at least 32% of their max health, plus the scaling damage that you're now getting. That's actually really fucking good. Holy shit, Wukong does damage. Okay, and the last champion on the list, which is Ziggs. Ziggs, I think, is kind of out of focus. I think he deserves a little bit of a buff. Ziggs has been struggling to blast off this year and finds himself in need of a little extra power. We're packing the bombs, so they're buffing him, like I said. They're buffing his main ability, which is his Q. They're buffing it by 10 base damage. This does nothing! Alright, Ziggs is the same. Alright, cool. Items. So, Demonic Embrace. I heard this item was one of the highest win rate items in the game, so they're nerfing it. Demonic Embrace is functioning well for AP bruisers and range damage over time champions, but it's performing too well on full tanks on Zac, Amumu, and Udyr. They're not fucking wrong. I know very well this is what I would build too, but that's for the pure fact that Liandry's is a mythic, and I'm not getting that as my mythic item if I'm a tank. I'd rather get this. But still, I do agree with them. It was way too fucking good on tanks. So what are they doing? They're nerfing it. It's giving less health, more AP, and the burn damage is going down. So they're I actually think they're kind of taking away the identity of this item. I mean, it still gives you AP if you're building health anyway. But, see, it's weird. I feel like this just does the same thing. It just loses its identity more. It becomes more of a damage item, yeah. But I still can see tanks building this. It's just more like, now the damage is more front-loaded rather than it's on the burn. You're literally losing 20% of the burn for 10 AP. And while it is max health, I actually think the AP is more valuable here. I think this is not really going to solve the issue. I don't know, though. I actually don't know. Anyway, Frozen Heart. What are they doing to Frozen Heart? I feel like Frozen Heart, to me, is kind of ass just because it doesn't give health. I feel like they really need to lean into the armor aspect of it. The passive is pretty good. However, I think that tanks in general need to overhaul because I think late game takes die too easily. I don't know what it is. Back in the day, tanks used to be unkillable. Nowadays, they're just kind of shitty. But, what are they doing? They're nerfing it. Wow. So, they're nerfing it by 200 gold. The armor's going up, thank goodness. And the rock solid damage is going down. So, it was actually too good. That's actually wild. I did not think that. Okay, Mortal Reminder. This item... Let me think. I mean, obviously it's an ADC item. I think people other than ADC build it, but most of the time ADCs build it if you just need healing reduction. And it got buffed from the Grievous Wounds update. Overall, I don't know what they're going to do to this item. If it's with an AD, they better buff it, though. If it's nerfed, then AD is just further in the shithole, and I'm going to hate it. So what are they doing? We've buffed Mortal Reminder to be a better Grievous Wounds item. Yes, it still competes directly with PD in terms of stats for ADCs weighing their options. Yes and no. PD's passive kind of makes PD more favorable for pure damage. This is really more niche for anti-heal. However, it is a good item on its own, I feel. Not the best, but good. We're emphasizing its AD component more so it could stand out against Phantom Dancer's attack speed and move speed. So what are they doing? They're upping the cost, they're upping the damage, and they're upping the... No, they're lowering the attack speed. Honestly, I think this is fine. I don't even think Mortal Reminder should give you any attack speed to begin with. Although it does build out of attack speed items, so I guess they have to. But overall, I think they should just buff the AD to 40, give it no attack speed, and just have the Grievous on it. I don't understand why it gives attack speed. Change the build path, just make it like an anti-heal item. No attack speed. I mean, having attack speed does buff ADs, though, so you know what? Fuck it. This is fine. More AD is better overall, so it's fine. People like Jinx don't need, like, attack speed anyway. So, Sterix. What do I think of Sterix? I think Sterix is highly underutilized, but that's probably because it's not too good. I think Sterix is mainly, if I remember correctly, because I haven't built this item almost ever, because I think it, at least from what I remember, if this is still how it is, then I'm correct, but from what I remember, Sterix Gauge is pretty much only good when paired with a Sheen user. So when I say Sheen, I mean, you know, obviously Triforce and, oh my god, what is it called? Divine Sunderer. I think because it buffs base AD, that it just pairs so well with those. So if you're not on a champion that uses those, I think this item is basically, you don't even buy it, because why would you? So I think it's so niche that that kind of plays out of it. I think it should be buffed in some way to make it more available to others. So what are they doing? Sterix has fallen behind Death's Dance as a preferred Juggernaut fighter item since champions aren't as worried about getting immediately burst down. We're buffing the item to make it more relevant to Juggernauts. How are they doing that? The claws that catch bonus AD, 45 to 50. The Riot 5% special, cool. Lifeline shield amount, 75 bonus health decaying to 80% bonus health decaying after a longer amount. See, I don't know. Both Sterix and Death's Dance technically do the same thing, although Sterix, like I said before, is more niche to Sheen users. So I still think this is kind of just going to be used on the same people it's being used on. I don't see them going Death's Dance, or honestly I could see them going both, but I honestly don't know if this change is good. I'm going to be honest, I don't know. Oh, sweet God. Oh, my God. I know what they're doing here. Oh, my God. So I've heard about this. If they actually put this through, I'm going to be fucking pissed. Oh, no. Lethal Tempo. Players in higher skill brackets are getting significantly more value out of the attack range increase to the point that it's warping the meta to an unhealthy degree. This keystone is primarily meant to be an attack speed rune, so we're bringing its range down. Okay. Okay, they're not doing what I thought. They are not doing what I thought. Okay. Alright, that's not too bad. I thought they were lowering the attack speed. Holy moly, I'm so glad they didn't go through with that change. So, what do I think? The one major problem I have, not only with lethal tempo, but with the whole yellow tree in general, is it's so fucking bad for ranged people. And I'll give you the perfect examples. I'll run you through the history. They reworked the runes. Fleet footwork, really good. ADs use it, because that was the meta of sustain. Okay, it gets nerfed to the ground where it's like not really good at all on ranged people. It's pretty much only decent on melee. Okay, cool. ADC's lost one of the 4 rune options here. Okay, whatever. They still have Conqueror, Lethal, and... what the fuck was the other one? Was there 4? Oh yeah, PTA. How do I forget PTA? PTA is an okay option, although it's pretty niche. Conqueror got nerfed on ranged, as it always does. And then Lethal was basically the best of all the worlds, right? ADCs always took Lethal until you really... unless you really synergized with Conqueror, aka Samira, or Draven. Or possibly Ezreal, but not really. Or if you really liked PTA, aka you did not do extended fights, which as an AD, not many ADCs did that, like Lucian per se. Even Lucian can have extended fights, but mostly MF, who's a caster. A lot of the times, Lethal or PTA ended up winning out, and Lethal is just so much better than PTA. So Lethal was, for a long time, the strongest option here, not because it was necessarily too good, but because it was so... all the other runes were so weak compared to it. So the fact that they're not touching the attack speed is good, but they're nerfing the range to make it equal to melees, which almost nothing else in the game, if there's a melee and ranged component, is like this. I think this is one of the few things where melee and ranged are actually the same now, where they once were different. Overall, this does hurt. I mean, the fact that you get any range at all from it is good. Obviously, it's going to suck not getting 75 and only getting 50, but again, any range is good. As an ADC, range is your biggest strength, because it helps with positioning, it helps with everything. So overall, again, this is a hit, but I'm glad they're not nerfing the attack speed. Although I don't agree with them nerfing this at all. I think, honestly, they just need to buff everything else. Buff everything else up so this isn't as good. I can kind of agree, though, that it does kind of warp the meta a little bit, but I would want an example how. I don't want to say for them what they think, because they haven't given an example, but for me, having extra range is a little broken. I think range, similar to movement speed, is extremely undervalued by people who don't realize the strength of it. But anyway, yeah, I'm a little sad it's getting nerfed. I understand it, that it's getting nerfed in this way, but everything else should realistically get buffed. Okay, so the behavioral systems, let's actually go over this. So, zero tolerance language will now be detected live and in-game. When detected, these messages will not be sent to other players. That is really insane. The offending player will be system muted, and all players will be notified. That is actually funny. So Riot is going down the path of public shaming. So you're about to say something, Riot shuts you up and then tells everyone else, hey, this guy was being a meanie. Or like he was going to say a no-no word. So now everyone knows that you're shut it up and why you did it. So let's see. With our growing confidence in feeding detection, we're increasing the strictness of the model made for high-level play and ranked solo duo. We're continuing to evaluate play and other queues and make adjustments. So they're making better matchmaking, I guess. Recently honored players will now be visible in the add a friend and friend requests menu. That's actually pretty good. That's actually a really good change. It's a change that's, I think, kind of sleeper good, because you don't really think about it, but if you honored someone, that means they did something good, you know, allegedly. And then you could just add them again, like, oh, you know, maybe I want to play with someone. Oh, this guy did really good on this champion, and I honored him for it. Let's invite him. I think it's actually really nice. I think these games should have more ways to find LFGs or just be able to play with people. So, event missions, what are we going here? A new batch of event missions has arrived. Cool, no one cares. Mythic Chroma icon updates. We heard your feedback loud and clear. Mythic Chroma icons are receiving updates to standardize their featured. All Mythic Chroma icons will feature the following. Portrait with new colors that reflect the change of the skin. Okay. Do summon an icon if the original skin did not have a matching icon or did not have the icon that features their portrait. Okay, this is some bullshit. No one cares. The Mythic shop is changing. No one cares, and no one cares. Cool. Bug fixes. No one cares. Okay, so now let's talk about the skins. So, these are the Halloween skins. Bewitching Batnivia and Bewitching Senna, which is pretty cool. Bewitching Cass, pretty cool. Bewitching LeBlanc, pretty cool. And Bewitching Neeko, my personal favorite, pretty cool. So, overall, I think these skins are actually really fucking good. The only thing I don't agree with is probably Senna maybe getting a skin. Neeko, great. LeBlanc, okay. Cassio, good. And Batnivia, I think, is the best one thematically. Although Neeko's my favorite because she's a catgirl. But overall, I think they hit it out of the fucking park. I think these skins' themes and probably the effects too, I haven't seen all of them. But of the ones I've seen, they are actually really fucking good looking. So, kudos to Riot. These are great fucking skins, man. Great Halloween skins. Especially that Neeko one, man. That Neeko one's so good. By the way, and there are the chromas. Overall, this patch was kind of eh. A lot of classic Riot changes of 5 AD, 10 AD, or 5 and 10, just numbered changes. Overall, nothing too big. If anything, this patch kind of upset me because they kind of just changed things I thought were whatever. I'm going to give this patch like a 5 out of 10. It was more neutral. Neutral, but not leaning too bad, but not leaning too good. Yeah, 5 out of 10 Marc Merrills. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. See you in 2 weeks.